Okay, we have two problems to solve before our high availability production Docker solution is complete. So we've got everything running, our apps are registering, so now we just need to kind of pull that internal etcd registry for changes and reload our Nginx configuration. And this is actually a decent bit easier than service registration. I feel like service registration is always the hardest part, me telling you that I exist. Service discovery, there's just some good solutions and tools for that make it a lot easier. We're going to be using confd for Nginx, CONFD. And what confd is going to do is it's going to run inside of this container, and then it's going to watch the etcd registry keys that we tell it to watch. And whenever things change, it's going to reload the Nginx configuration template. It's going to template it out and change the configuration file, and then it's going to reload Nginx. And I have made a Docker image that makes this very simple. It's willrstern/nginxlb. And all you do is you run it and you pass it two things. You tell it the service name that you're listening for and that you're load balancing for. And then you give it another environment variable called etcd. And this is simply your IP address and port that it can access etcd from. So in this case, we're running this command right here to get the internal etcd IP address, which is always port 2379. So we're passing this in. This won't change. The only thing that'll change is what your service name is called. So in this case, we're load balancing some app. And then I gave it a name, some app LB. So that's it. Let's go ahead and run this, and then I'll show you kind of what's going on under the hood. So let's go ahead and submit this service file. Submit what I call it, some app LB. And then I can just start it. Now, ideally, we would probably run two copies of this, so I'd make it a some app LB at file, and then I'd launch two versions of it because we do want failover. We want there to be, in case this Nginx instance goes down, we want there to be another one that can get picked up as well. But for now, we're just doing one for this example. Let's look at this fleet control list units. So there's my LB. It is running on this guy. Oh, it's still activating. So it's pulling the image right now. That'll probably take about 30 seconds. Start post. And it should be done any second. There we go. It's running. So let's go ahead and look at this guy. I guess I'll just SSH into here. I don't know what port it's running on, so. Gosh, SSH. All these commands can kind of get to you sometimes. There you go, Docker PS. So there we go, node sample is exposing this port, 32770. And again, that was on this IP address. So let's go to here, 32770. 32770. Some app 1. Let's see if it load balances. Am I looking at the wrong one? Yes, I am, 32771. I was just going directly to some app 1. There we go. 2, 1, 2, 4, 3. Excellent. So it's load balancing between all four. Great. That's very, very good to see. So let's go ahead and show you how that's doing what it's doing. And then we'll move on to our last problem to solve. So here's basically everything it took to create that Nginx LB image that I made. Very, very simple to recreate on your own. I'm doing it from Ubuntu. I'm installing confd. I'm installing Nginx. And then I'm just basically going to remove a few things. I'm going to copy a couple files over. I'm going to expose port 80. And then my entry command is just to run confd watch, which is this file right here. So this is what gets run when you run that load balancer. And I'm doing two things. I'm simply looking at this toml file. And I'm looking, this toml file is basically the configuration for confd. And it's very, very simple. You can see, here's my template file. Here's where I'm putting that template file. And here's the keys that I'm watching in etcd. And then here's my check command. This is important too, because once you've templated that out, you want to make sure that what got automatically generated is actually valid. So it's going to run this first. It will not reload Nginx unless that template file is valid, which is a very good thing. And we can probably make that do a very loud and clear alert if for some reason our template file blows up on us. And so then it's going to reload Nginx when that template's out. Here's all the template file is we're going to proxy to app. We're going to listen on port 80. And we're going to proxy up here to all of our upstreams. So for everything in services, app name, upstream, we're just going to spit out a new server. So we have to do two things for this to work. Is we have to change app name here, here, and here. And then we have to change the app name that we're listening to. So if you remember, when I started this, I did one thing. I gave it a service name environment variable. And right now we're calling that some app. So when conf watch starts up, we're going to replace every instance of app name in both our toml file and our Nginx template with whatever service name we gave it. So it's going to automatically replace all this stuff with some app. And then it's going to automatically replace all this with some app. All this right here. So there we go. It's going to change those. And then it's going to start up conf, which is going to watch etcd. And whenever it changes, it's going to do its thing. So that's what's happening, and that's running. So whenever nodes arrive, go away, all that, Nginx automatically reloads its configuration, and that's great. And so we can actually use this exact same Nginx LB image for as many services as we want. We just have to give it a different service name. And as long as we adhere to this structure, in etcd, services / service name / upstream, we can use that same image for everything. So now we just have one problem left to solve, and that's the problem of we still don't know which IP addresses and ports all our Nginx load balancers will have. So now we have to register these somewhere else, and then we have a public-facing proxy in front of them that automatically points all of our subdomains to our services. So let's move on to that last and final piece.